Hey, welcome my friends. Here we are. It's Chat with Matt. It is the 11th of December 2019. Here we are. Answer some questions. Stimulate some conversation. Stimulate some thought. See what comes out of my mouth. That's basically what we're here to do. Welcome. This is the first time I've done a Chat with Matt. I have done some live streams before to this group. I've decided to move Chat with Matt from my public business page, the Mantara business page, to the, what do we call this group? Bright Light Facilitators group, which is our big free group. And don't panic if you're not a quote unquote a facilitator, because in my vernacular, you are. Right? They're just words. They're just words. Everyone has different connotations to different words. I'm trying to boost the profile and the acceptability of facilitating, which basically means that you create change without actually doing the change, right? A facilitator is a catalyst. We create situations where people change without having to do the changing for them. That's what we do. And as a bright light, as someone who is heart-centered, you are inherently doing that everywhere you walk. And the more that you are aware of it and the more that you own it, the more powerful that becomes, which is inherently satisfying to you. But you feel much more purposeful, you might feel much more grounded in yourself and in why you are here, and thus you feel happier, which is what I'm here to help you do, to empower you into the greatest version of yourself so that you can be happy, which is not happy, joy, let's have a party all the time, but it is basically content in who you are. Because as you assume that, you allow much more of your God light, if you want, what's a better term? Well, any term, right? Divine light, true self, source energy to flow through you. And that's exactly what our society and indeed this planet needs. So that's my role. That's what I'm choosing to do, to help empower you, yes, you, to step up into who you are. Now, it doesn't mean you need to get on a soapbox. It doesn't mean you need to quit your day job and start working to heal people at all. But it is more around the idea that you accept your role as a bearer of light on this planet, as a catalyst for change, as a facilitator of empowered growth. Hey, Sister Jen, I am open for questions as per normal. So that's what this group is really here to achieve. It's here to support you in really owning the fact that you are a facilitator, no matter what your external job is or how you spend your time. It's to understand that inherently the light that's flowing through you is facilitating change on this planet for all whom you meet. And the more that you can be aware of that, the more powerful it will be. And it doesn't mean you necessarily have to change much about your external world, but it's more of an internal shift in your awareness of who you are and the role you are playing, and thus your sense of appreciation for yourself and that role, right? Because many of you, just like me, feel beat up a lot of the time with the energy that is running. And if you're not aware that it's actually running for a good cause and you are actually quote unquote working, then you feel wrong about yourself. You feel that you're failing. You feel that you're not doing what you're supposed to do according to the external, rules of society, or why am I so tired? Have I got chronic fatigue or something? And quite often not. Someone who is not long out of bed this morning, having slept quite a long night. Yeah, like 10 hours. Just trying to equate it now. Again, not particularly good sleep. Hasn't been good sleep for quite some while, Jen. It's true, right? But I facilitated a light language session down at the yoga school last night, 7 till 8:30 or so. Came home, ate late, even though I'd eaten before I went. But after facilitating light language like that in a live setting, I always need to eat afterwards. Ravenous, hungry to ground down. And still had a lot of energy running most of the night. So then woke up very late, like half an hour ago. So I haven't done my meditation practice yet. Still feeling pretty rough around the edges. I think the first thing that came out of my mouth when Marie was trying to wake me up was, "What hit me?" Did you get the number plate? Did you get the number plate of that truck that just ran me over? That's it. But knowing that all of that is not me being wrong, it's just me playing my role, and it is just a natural consequence. It doesn't need to be that way, especially not all of the time, but sometimes it will be, and it's not a wrongness, it's me shifting energy. The whole topic of last night was on letting go, which is what I've been working with my support community this month of December. It's about letting go of the past so that we can move into a much more expansive and exciting 2020 and beyond. So there's a lot of processing going on. There is a huge amount of processing. I'm having all sorts of dreams, much of which is about the past. I'm remembering I'm just pulling it back in from something that was going on last night, which was a situation in the past which I didn't feel I handled very well, and yet it was very frustrating because the situation kept playing over and over and over in my dreams last night, and I wasn't managing to handle it much better in my dream state. So the point is to let it go, to let go of the judgment that I didn't handle that well, to let go of the idea that this is still quite a mistake that I'm carrying. It's the judgment that I need to let go of, right? It's not the actual situation itself, because it doesn't exist. What does exist is my tether to it, which is just the judgment that I didn't handle it well, that it went wrong, and that I'm still somehow paying the consequences for making that mistake. When I can let that go, then the situation itself sort of dissolves into, what does it mean if something doesn't mean anything? Basically, it loses its meaning, so it dissolves in insignificance. It dissolves into insignificance, right? It's not that I actually get rid of those memories and wipe the memory banks, because I don't need to anymore, because the point is the tether to it is not there. It's not nearly as triggering that, oh yes, I've done something like this wrong before. So if I do something today that brings up the same emotion of this, shame, guilt, I've done something wrong, that it doesn't bring back this piece of evidence from the past that proves that I do this all the time, or I'm not good at this, or this is a common mistake that Matt makes, and that I need to fix this part of myself. That part of myself will be fixed when I let go of the judgment towards it, because at the moment I'm holding it in rigidity around this idea that this is a personality flaw of Matt, that he can't do this particular thing very well. As an example, and there are many, many examples of how we are moving through this kind of stuff, releasing our past, which is basically, I will say it again, it's about releasing our judgment to things we've done in the past. Whether it's we think we've done it wrong, or we think someone else has done something wrong, it's the judgment that generally keeps these painful situations, these quote-unquote traumas, right? Because even what I was going through last night, which was more of just a frustrating situation where I kept making the same mistake, which did have consequences, of course, but it's a trauma. It's a trauma in my field. Not that it was, Matt being abused and highly emotional. It was more of a mental judgment against myself. It's traumatic in the fact that it was proving that I wasn't good enough, right? Which is Matt's predominating negative mind talk that I've been, dealing with my whole life, not good enough, even though I've proven time and time again that I am exceptionally good at doing a lot of things. For some reason, my nose is starting to run now that I'm here. Hey, Brother John Owen, how are you? So, friends, what would you like to know about? I've just been talking about the situation as I've been experiencing it. Judgments holding stuff in place and letting all of that go, which has been doing a lot of that processing has been happening in the night, and thus sleep has not been particularly deep or restful, but no doubt has still been very beneficial, right? So we have to understand it's great when sleep is deep and restful from an egoic point of view, because we wake up feeling fresh and excited. But sometimes it's more important that we work through the night, and then we just have to cope with it during the day. We just have to cope through it during the day. The understanding that I've spent nearly the best part of 10 hours with my eyes closed, means that I did get enough rest, even though I wasn't sleeping particularly deeply. I'm waking up still feeling the residue of what I've been releasing. So I woke up still feeling anxious, and I still felt tired. I didn't feel particularly rested, because there's this overlay of density still in my field. I still felt tired. But that's basically what I'm releasing. It's not the fact that I didn't actually rest my body well enough, because I obviously did, because I was basically reasonably immobile in my bed for 10 hours. So I know I've been, rested, but I still feel lethargic, which is a symptom of release. So don't make that wrong. Again, it's about letting go of judgments, and it's a letting go of expectations. A lot of people, if you wake up feeling tired like that, you think you're going to be dragging your ass all day throughout whatever you've got to do. And in my experience, it's not the case. If you can let go of the belief that, I didn't sleep well, therefore I am tired because I didn't sleep well, then you can shift it quite quickly. If you just wake up and go, wow, I'm still processing what I was releasing last night, take some deep breaths, do your practices and move on, without playing the story, I didn't sleep well, therefore I'm tired, then more than likely you're going to get through your day in relatively good shape. Much of our issues is preconditioned expectations based on history. And that's much of what we're letting go. We're choosing to let go of how history, whether it's recent history, I didn't sleep well last night, or long-term history, is affecting us and influencing us throughout our day, throughout our life, so that we can be more present in the moment to really just embrace what's there. Because the truth is, I have an infinite source of energy available to me right now. So even though I'm quote unquote feeling tired, which is basically just the energy that I'm releasing, as opposed to this thought that I don't have enough energy because I didn't sleep well, because it's bullshit. I do have enough energy because I'm an infinite source of energy. The point is, that's a story that I'm telling myself, and if I keep telling myself that, then that's the reality. I don't have enough energy because I don't think I have enough energy because I don't think I slept well enough. If I remember that I'm infinite source and I've got all the energy I need at one breath away, and I still allow myself to feel tired because that is the energy that's perpetuated, that's the energy that's arisen out of my field to be released. There's a density energy and I'm feeling it, and it feels like a word that I use is tired. But if I used a different word and I'm feeling the density of what I'm releasing, instead of using the word I feel tired, then I have much more energy to move on in my day and make much better choices about what I do. It's about being empowered. It's about being empowered in the situation. I'm not trying to get rid of the density that I feel so that I can be more active. I'm just choosing to let go of the idea that I'm feeling density, therefore I'm tired, therefore I don't have enough energy to do what's exciting, right? And which is not the case. It's not the case. So work with yourselves, my friends, in a empowered way, and choose well. Choose well what you choose to believe about any situation, and just, it all comes down to awareness. For a starting point, if we're not aware of that we're telling ourselves stories, habitual stories about how we describe the sensations that we're experiencing, right? Because we ascribe a meaning to it, and then that meaning has a consequence, has an influence over actually what we can do in the moment. Because as soon as we start telling ourselves, hey, I'm really tired, then that means that I don't have enough energy to do things in an exciting way. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. If we can describe it in a more empowered way, which is not denying, but it's just about changing our terminology. Instead of saying, hey, I feel really tired, I feel a lot of density in my field, it feels quite heavy. It doesn't come with the same idea that I'm lacking in energy. It just means I'm feeling density. It's different, right? And it's basically an empowered place to be when you really own your feelings and can describe them or categorize them in an empowered way without putting so much meaning on it. Hey, brother Phil. So this is open forum, right? And I'm just chatting to myself at the moment because no one's asked a question. But it has been a good discussion. So if you want to get back, it's been going for about 15 minutes. At the end, you can watch the first 15 minutes again. And these are going to happen here on this space. I've just moved Chat with Matt. It has been the whole year I've been doing this half an hour call on a Wednesday morning. It has been happening out on my public page, my business page, but I've decided to move it into this group, which I'm choosing to put more and more energy into and deliver a lot more of my I don't want to say vulnerable stuff, but I'm choosing to become more and more intimate with this group, and I'll still put stuff out in the public forum, and no doubt, put money behind it to send it out to attract basically people to this group. But I'm not hiding from the world, because I realized, why I started doing it in the public group as opposed to in private, which was mainly in my paid private groups, was because I realized that I was hiding in those groups and not wanting to be seen by people who were potentially quote unquote haters, trolls, whatever you want to call them, who would criticize me. So I went out into public, got the criticism that I needed to prove that I could cope with that criticism, and now I'm choosing to work in a way where I can deliver more value to those who really appreciate me. Neither was wrong. It wasn't wrong to go out in public and to get that. I'm going to sneeze in a minute, and I don't have an appropriate article. Okay. Could have been worse. I could have sat there and sneezed all over the camera. December is Matt's hay fever month. I've done pretty well because I have not gone on to antihistamines, and it's the 11th of December. But I think it's probably ready to start. I'm not into torturing myself, but also I am choosing to break this seasonal thing, this thing called hay fever, that I get itchy eyes and a sneezy nose. It used to be much, much worse. It used to start in October and run all the way through to March. And now it's down to, last year I think I took medication for most of December and maybe a little bit of January. This year it's 11th of December. I still haven't started taking any medication, and I have been reasonably good. A bit of itchy eyes and whatnot from time to time, but copable. But we'll see how today pans out. It might be I might be on my once-a-day medication. I used to take 2 of the once-a-day medications for quite a period of the year. Anywho, that's by the by. Not that I'm needing to, prove myself by getting off medication, but I, enjoying the challenge or enjoying the recognition that I'm improving. I'm still very, very sensitive, but I'm working with my body to be more and more empowered with my sensitivities and not to allow whatever seasonal stuff to annoy me. Anywho's, how can I help you guys or girls, whoever's watching? Please feel free to write in, and maybe I better check down here. I'll do a refresh on this page because it has happened before that I don't see the comments, and I've just noticed that all I've seen is people joining and no comments. Oh no, I have seen a comment because I saw Jen say feeling so tired. So yeah, please feel free, write in if you have something you would like me to talk to. It doesn't need to be personal, it can be general as well. What else can I fill in 10 minutes with if none of you are willing to stimulate my conversation? Just watching a tui. It's got its head covered in flax pollen in the bird bath. Covered. It had like this bright orange head. I almost thought it was a different bird for a minute. But it's been busy pollinating and feeding. Because for those of you who don't know, I won't turn the camera around because I'm basically looking at the washing hanging on the line. But there's also a very nice view of Carpety Island and our gardens and the bird bath out this window that's in front of me. And I'm at my desk, right? This is where I sit and do my work. Okay, what next? So we're running into the end of the year. It's 11th of December. We've got it's 2 weeks till Christmas today, pretty much for us to hey Sister Meg, 2 weeks till Christmas Eve for you guys in the Americas, and my thoughts on purpose. Hey Sister Lizzie Beth. Lizzie Beth is not her real name, but I know who it is. She just lives down the road. Awesome. Thoughts on purpose? Yeah, awesome question. Sister Phil, Brother Phil. Purpose. I talk quite a bit about purpose because a lot of people lose themselves to this grand idea of purpose, and that you need to find your purpose in order to be happy, and that until you find your purpose, you're kind of wasting your time here. And that keeps people really disempowered and really stuck. And so I tend to talk about purpose as in choosing to be purposeful in every moment of now, choosing to be purposeful with what you're doing, whether that's washing your dishes, going for a walk, or writing an email to someone. That's your purpose in the moment, and to choose to recognize that you're being purposeful with every breath that you take. Because as a being of light here on planet, you have a purpose to be yourself, right? To be your big self, the capital S, right? Your light bearer self. And without having to put that on a pedestal, on a grandstand, on a concept that you can't really conceive, it's about relaxing into an authentic acceptance of yourself. That really is your purpose. It's to really accept who you are so that you can let your shields down and radiate yourself out to the world. And from that foundation of purpose, all sorts of purposeful activities or pursuits will present for you, right? Things where you can express your purposes in more external ways, right? As in to, help people with Reiki in your case, or with coaching or whatever it might be. We find purposeful pursuits from a foundation of being purposeful in being ourselves. So relaxing into breathing with purpose. It's our purpose to breathe in and to stimulate our expansion, and to breathe out and to relax into being it. So purpose, is a loaded term, a loaded concept that many quote unquote spiritual seekers get tripped up in, thinking that they're not good, right, and proper because they haven't found their purpose yet, and they're just searching for their purpose, and they know that once they find their purpose, then they'll be happy. And their purpose is to be happy. Right? So you have to put the horse before the cart, right? And choose to be happy right now. Choose to relax into a authentic, confident expression of yourself, an authentic, relaxed beingness, and then you feel inherently purposeful, and then all sorts of activities come to reflect that out into the world. Brother Lewis, how are you? Holding space for your mum-in-law. So yeah, it's a great question, the purpose question, and I can definitely talk about purpose for a long time, but that was the guts of it, and I think that was probably one of the most eloquent and short ways that I've ever said it. So well done, Phil, for provoking that at the right time, because it is a big concept that many people in our ilk and in this community will trip up on from time to time, and myself included, right? I still sometimes don't feel that I'm living my purpose to a big enough way, and of course that is just egoic judgment and not really, from a mindset that doesn't really understand the depth of how I am serving and how I am helping in being neck deep in my own trouble in this moment, right? Or whatever it is, right? Neck deep in my own SH1T. I am still being purposeful in that moment, even though I may not be particularly functional and putting anything out to the world. Sister Chris, how are you? Awesome that your mum-in-law is doing better. Great. And you are welcome, of course, Brother Lewis, and the rest of our support community that answered the call when you reached out. So my friends, the other thing that I do want to mention before I forget is that I'm coming on tomorrow for 12/12 at 12 p.m. I'm actually going to get on the call at 11:30 a.m. Tomorrow, New Zealand time. I know that will still be the 11th in the Americas and Europe for that matter. Although it'll be a little bit late in Europe. It'll be like 10:30 p.m. UK time. But in the American time zones, it'll be like 4:30 Central. I'm going to start a call. It's going to run through 12 and 12/12 time here in New Zealand on the 12th of the 12th. And it's 2019, which is a 12 year. And it's full moon about 6 hours after that call, which is about 6:12 p.m. New Zealand time. It will be the moon will be full on 12/12/12. And, you've heard me basically not ridicule, but downplay the importance of such portals in the past because, I again, it's kind of like people getting caught up in purpose. People get caught up in these portals and having to make a big deal out of them, and then not make a big deal out of every other moment. That's the point. This is, it is an empowering moment, a beneficial moment, a moment that we can enjoy and use well, because a lot of people are into it, right? So that it has a strong morphogenetic field around it. And so we'll utilize that and we'll build on it. But the point is not to pin all of your hopes on any astrological or numerological portal or religious holiday celebration. They are times that we can use to our benefit, but I always try and downplay it and say the right time to start anything is right now. Generally, maybe not. Sometimes it's worth waiting for something, but the point is not to get contracted around putting a stress around these portals or these times or whatever, and think that if you didn't do the right thing that you're going to have missed out in something, and that's not beneficial. But anyway, so there will be a call tomorrow. It will be on instant teleseminars. I have put the details into this group, I'm pretty sure. I think I did yesterday. I will put it in again before that call starts. And I've also sent out an email. If you're not on my email list, go to mantara.nz, www.mantara.nz, or NZ, as you Americans would say it, and download a free gift and get on my email list. That way you'll get notifications of all such things. What else, my friends? What else? So yeah, that will be interesting. I've got other things in the pipeline, looking to create a little course for January. A little course. I'm not even sure how it's going to go yet. But what I'm intending to help people do is not to fall into the slump that happens in February most years, when the excitement of New Year's resolutions and new beginnings, 2020 is going to be a more expansive year. I just know that a lot of people rah all the way through January, and come mid-February, a lot of people are falling flat on their face thinking nothing's changed, my life's still hard, everything's still going wrong, I must have messed it up, sort of thing. And I'm looking to put on a little something to help people avoid that, and to really have a good, strong, well-founded start to this decade, without this sort of sprint from the goal line and then I've got a stitch, I'm all puffed out, what did I do wrong? Awesome, Brother Lou. Right, I'll read it down here. Would love to duplicate that. Yeah, well, just be just be careful with trying to duplicate joys you've had in the past. Just allow yourself to accept whatever comes up this time, and allow it to be as expansive and great as possible without trying too hard, right? Because I know from my own meditation, experience and life of many years, that when we have a beautiful meditation, it's always nice that the next day to sit down and go, wow, I hope I have another beautiful experience like that, which of course is, always going to create disappointment in some way. We just accept our blessings when they come with a lot of gratitude and appreciation, and then move into whatever is appropriate next. Because especially in that case of the meditation example, quite often after we have a very expansive meditation, the next day we have a meditation that is full of what has been triggered by that expansion. Quite often it can go for weeks afterwards, where we're processing a lot of stuff that gets stirred up from having a deeper experience of who we truly are, shakes loose a lot of the stories of who we, what we were hiding about ourselves. And so we get to see a lot of that comes scrolling through the planes of consciousness, and it can quite often be very uncomfortable and not very satisfying at all. Yeah, no, I get it, Brother Lou, and thanks for saying it, because that is another topic that I can talk about a lot of. The understanding that we have a great experience, quite often there is repercussions that aren't very comfortable, and that's not wrong. It's not wrong. And a lot of people think, oh, I've lost it. I get conference calls all the time. I was listening to one of your MP3s and I had this beautiful experience, but now I've lost it. No, you didn't lose anything, because basically they're saying, and now I'm having all of this hardship, right? And somehow something's gone wrong, or I've been attacked by the darkness because I rose up too high. It's like, no, you're not being attacked by the darkness. You're just releasing dark shit that you've been carrying forever, and because you expanded into your light, that dark stuff can't stay hidden in your field anymore, so it's come up to be released. By making a story about being attacked by the darkness is not actually helping you release it, or making a story about how you are now failing and you have, fallen off the wagon, or you've lost what you had, is not helping. Understand the process, that this seesawing or this pendulum swinging is always going on. As we arise or expand into new expressions of ourselves, there is always generally a experience of what we're releasing happening soon after, and that is 100% appropriate. And it's just a matter of, the more that we can stay neutral or accepting of that scenario and just keep breathing our way through the discomfort that we feel without making it wrong, without making a story around it, then we move through it much more quickly in a much more empowered and efficient and effective way, and we actually become more free, right? We actually become more free. Anyway, my friends, that's it. We've pretty much done our half-hour stint this morning. That was Chat with Matt. I'll be back same time next week, same place, here in the Mantara Bright Light Facilitators free group to answer questions. So if you think of a question during the week, scribble it down. I usually put a notification up about 12 hours before I come on, to remind you that it will be on, and to also give you the opportunity to write down whatever you want to talk about, or have me answer. Even if you can't make it live to the call, you can write in ahead of time, and then you can see it in replay, which quite often, I have to admit, for many of us, although internet's getting better and better, many people get frustrated trying to watch these live streams because their stream doesn't flow very well. So sometimes it's easier and more enjoyable to watch it after it's been done. Although I really appreciate people interacting live, because it gives me something to work with. Anyway, my friends, much love. Bye for now. Bye-bye.